Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. Happy Easter, happy Passover. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak, Peter Brown with the weather, Ian Casciola with the Community Bulletin Board, and Matt DiMarzio with sports. Thank you for joining us. Results are in for the 2017 Burlington Townwide election. In the town moderator race between incumbent Sally Willard and challenger William Byer, the newcomer won. Byer garnered 1,672 votes to Willard's 1,115. Was the first time in nearly 50 years an incumbent moderator was defeated in Burlington. In the Board of Selectmen race to fill Daniel Grattan's seat, who announced earlier this year he was not seeking re-election, there were three candidates: James Tigas, a detective with the Burlington Police Department; Joan Kennedy Constant, an attorney; and Virginia Mooney, a former member of the board and current town meeting member. Tigas won the race with 1,692 votes. Kennedy Constant received 921 votes, and Mooney received 216. There was also a contested race for Recreation Commission. Long-term incumbent Kevin Sullivan won handily with 2,047 votes to challenger Timothy Burke's 593. We spoke to winners of the Board of Selectmen and town moderator races following the election, and here is a clip of them thanking their supporters.
Well, I feel fantastic. I'm thrilled for obvious reasons. It's a great feeling. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of people to thank. It's an overall great feeling.
And just sort of any comment about the people who supported you along the way?
Oh, absolutely. First, I just want to thank. If I started thanking people who helped along the way, I know I'd forget someone. So I don't want to start going down a list of names, but there's two people who do have to thank. Is my chairman is Bob Hogan, and then my right-hand man, who was my treasurer and my co-chairman and whatever I need, my son Adam. He was there for everything. But I also have to thank my family because I put them aside to do what I had to do to run this race.
Obviously, I'm pleased. I'm surprised at the margin, but I'm very happy about it. Obviously, there were a lot of people who worked very hard on my behalf, and the results are obviously very gratifying.
And just any words to the people who supported you throughout the campaign and came out to vote today for you?
Well, I can't thank them enough. This wasn't so much about Bill Byer as it was about community. And there was a group of people who came together to support me out of a sense of community, because that's what this is all about. I mean, if local government is about anything, and it's about a community. I mean, in town government, town meeting system of government is where the community gets together and decides what they wish to do, and this is a piece of our community that came together to support me. So I'm overwhelmed. Thank you to all of them.
There were also a number of contested town meeting races. You can find all of the election results on our website at www.bcattv.org/bnews. Following State Senator Ken Donnelly's funeral on Saturday, many friends and former colleagues gathered at Tuscan Kitchen in Burlington to celebrate the life of the man they say worked tirelessly for the people of Massachusetts. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford was there and has this report.
State Senator Ken Donnelly was laid to rest on Saturday after he passed on April 2nd due to a brain tumor he battled for 8 months. After the funeral, friends, family, and colleagues, including many firefighters, gathered at Tuscan Kitchen in Burlington to celebrate the life of the man they said helped so many throughout his career. Since 2009, Donnelly represented the 4th Middlesex District, including Arlington, Burlington, Billerica, Woburn, and parts of Lexington. Prior to serving in the Massachusetts Senate, Donnelly was a firefighter for 37 years in the town of Lexington and legislative agent and the secretary-treasurer of the Professional Firefighters of Massachusetts. Those gathered to celebrate the life of Senator Donnelly spoke about his dedication to the people of his district and all of Massachusetts.
Senator Ken Donnelly was an exceptional legislator. It was my pleasure to work and my honor to be able to work with him side by side to represent the interests of the people of Burlington. You know, I feel that I'm lucky to have had the opportunity to work with a senator like Ken Donnelly, and Burlington is lucky to have been represented by such a person. I mean, he had Burlington's interests at heart all the time. And whenever we got together, he would talk about what are we going to do as strategy to further the interests of the people of Burlington. He always thought about that. He was always thinking, okay, what's the best way to do it? He was a pragmatist. What can we accomplish?
He's done a lot. You know, every year we've been really lucky that the formula grant funds have gone up, you know, every single year, and he was, you know, one of the senators behind that. And just generally, I mean, if anyone had a problem that you know we couldn't solve at the local level, take it to the state level, and Senator Donnelly would take care of it. He was a true champion, and fun to talk to.
When Kenny left the firefighters union to be a senator, he took his compassion, he took his love, and really brought it to a new level of helping so many more people, so many more classes of people, like the elderly, like the special needs, people that needed a strong advocate. And that's who Kenny really was at the end of the day. He was someone that got up out of bed every day and tried to make it better for others. And he was a real champion for working families, champion for people that needed someone to stick up for them.
There were also stories about Donnelly from back when he was a firefighter and how even then he showed his willingness and dedication to help everyone.
Actually, I met Kenny when I was very, very young. I was working in Burlington Fire. I actually got laid off in 1981. I went over and worked with Lexington Fire, and I was actually assigned to Kenny's shift. So I actually ended up working with Kenny for almost a year.
What was he like back then?
He was a great guy. I mean, I was new on the job, and he had probably had 10 years on the job, so he was a great mentor. You know, we worked on the ambulance together, we worked on the engines together and stuff like that. He was there to help, as he's always been throughout his life.
He was an old school firefighter. He was get in there, get dirty, get the job done, you know, and get out of there, and help the people the best that we could. You know, around the firehouse, it was a different story. It was cooking and family and enjoying each other, you know, living each other's lives together. When we spent a lot of time together in that firehouse, and he was our family, and we were his family, and it was nice. It was a great guy.
Finally, everyone said that his loss will be felt by them, his district, and all the people of Massachusetts.
Well, it's going to be a really big gap because it's a very powerful progressive voice that has now been silenced. His values are very, very much well felt and respected in the Senate, and there are others, but no one quite had the way of expressing in very, very heartfelt and direct terms what the effects were of things on average working people. And that's why he was so effective in fighting for and being a champion for the people in need.
He's touched so many lives and helped so many people. It's going to be a loss. There's going to be a vacuum.
At the Tuscan Kitchen, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
Town meeting will be asked to consider a larger transfer of funds for sidewalk repair during the May session. On Monday, the Board of Selectmen voted to approve the inclusion of a warrant article that would see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $1 million from free cash to repair, repave, or reconstruct existing sidewalks to include Bedford Street in conjunction with the road repaving project to be spent under the direction of the town administrator. Sidewalk repair and construction has been a topic of interest for town meeting the past couple of years. In May of 2016, the legislative body approved $250,000 to upgrade the sidewalks for the stretch of Bedford Street from Cambridge Street to Terrace Hall Avenue from bituminous curbing with asphalt to granite curbing with concrete. The year prior, it had upped the amount designated for sidewalk repair from $50,000 to $100,000. Selectman Bob Hoagland, who has been a part of Sidewalk Policy Committee, said there had been numerous meetings in this new warrant, on this new warrant article. He said the loose plan is to use the funds over the next 3 years in conjunction with the Department of Public Works road paving schedule. Work on Bedford Street is set to continue this spring. The board voted 4-0-0 to have the article placed in the Maytown meeting warrant and to recommend its passage. The Board of Selectmen discussed a proposal to have solar panels placed on the roof of the Burlington Ice Palace during the meeting on Monday night. Town Administrator Petrin said the FMC Lee Sports, the private corporation that leases the Ice Palace from the town, has worked out a proposal with a third-party provider to install the panels. FMC Ice Sports, manages the facility and pays all the utility bills. Petrin said FMC would cover the cost of the installation, which would come to approximately $350,000, $335,000, and expects to recoup the loss in 10 years. FMC currently has a lease agreement with the town until 2029. Because the town owns the facility, any decision to alter the building or add anything to it must be approved by the Board of Selectmen. Though an engineer said the roof of the Ice Palace wouldn't be damaged by installing solar panels, there is the question of what happens when they no longer work. Petrin added that because the town owns the building, it should also see some of the benefits of the solar panels. The planning for the project is still in the early stages. Petrin said the only vote the board was being asked to take at this point was whether the town should continue discussing the matter. The board voted 4-0-0 to have the town continue to do just that. Dr. Judith Owens, director of the Center for Pediatric Sleep Disorders at Boston Children's Hospital and an associate professor of neurology at Harvard Medical School, was at Burlington High to discuss teenage sleep cycles and the benefit of later school starting times. BNEWS director Rich Hosford has more.
Every parent knows that getting a teenager up and out of bed can be a chore, and many go through the school day in a state of exhaustion that cuts down on productivity and learning. Most people just chalk it up to typical teenage behavior of staying up too late on a school night, but more and more researchers are suggesting that it's biological. Because of this, Burlington Public Schools Administration has been discussing the possibility of changing the start time at Burlington High to half an hour or an hour later, perhaps starting in 2018. As part of an ongoing discussion, the department recently held a talk featuring Dr. Judith Owens, director of the Center for Pediatric Sleep Disorders at Boston Children's Hospital. She says there's a lot of misperceptions as to why teens want to sleep later.
Well, I think probably the main thing is that parents don't always understand that a lot of these changes in sleep are really biologically based, and they're not just teenagers being teenagers or, being obstinate or oppositional. And no matter how much limit setting parents do, they can't really alter the biology significantly. And I think that's important to understand.
Because of this change in sleep cycles, Dr. Owen said it is difficult for teenagers to be well rested when school starts at the traditional time.
So because of this shift in circadian rhythms, the average teenager can't get to sleep much before 11 o'clock at night. But their sleep needs don't change all that dramatically from when they were in elementary school, so they still need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So you can do the math. If they can't fall asleep till 11, in order to get even 8 hours of sleep, they would have to not get up until 7 o'clock in the morning. And if school starts at 7:15 or 7:30, that really places an impossible situation for a lot of teenagers.
A lack of sleep can do more than affect grades, Dr. Owen said. It can also introduce physical and mental health problems and lead to more risky behaviors.
Well, I think we're recognizing that this is really a health issue as well as a performance issue. So we know that lack of sleep affects brain function. It affects your ability to make good decisions and solve problems. It affects your ability to regulate your emotions. It affects your ability to make good judgments about taking risks, use things like substance abuse and alcohol use. So it also has effects on safety. There are studies which show that later school start times are associated with fewer car accidents, for example. So teens who are not getting adequate sleep are more likely to get involved in all kinds of accidents, and they're also more likely to have mood changes, in particular to have symptoms of depression and even to have suicidal thoughts.
Burlington Public Schools Superintendent says he finds the evidence compelling.
Well, I think a lot of the recent research that's come out that Dr. Owens was talking about, I think there's been, again, more recently, more and more evidence gathering on this topic. So there's been a lot more publications, and it's hard to read something that says without changing anything in a school district, you can have a standard deviation of improvement of teacher quality, again, without changing any of the teachers, by delaying your start time to 8:30. So I think it's something we have to look at, never mind the other public health issues that Dr. Owens reviewed tonight.
In the Burlington High School auditorium, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hoffer.
On Monday, thousands of people will be running in the Boston Marathon, some of them doing it for a personal challenge, but others are doing it for a charity. That includes some Burlington residents running to support the Mass General Hospital for Children's Pediatric Cancer Team, fighting kids' cancer. BNews reporter Ted Stefanak went to speak to members of the team and has this report.
This year marks the 121st running of the Boston Marathon, and since 1998, Massachusetts General Hospital has been represented in this Patriots Day tradition with a team dedicated to pediatric cancer treatment and research. Two members of the Run for MGH team are Burlington residents Courtney and Ryan Fine. I met the Fines in their home, along with their biggest supporters, Mackenzie, Bella, and their youngest Lily.
It was the first year when Lily was a baby. We had a doctor's appointment. It was actually on Marathon Monday, and I remember walking through the lobby and seeing posters of several of the Mass General runners and their patient partners, which is part of the program, and it just inspired me.
Training for the Boston Marathon with a lively family is no easy task.
It's tough, it's time consuming, it's a commitment. It's not easy, but you have to have the mindset. Training in the winter is tough, so you're dealing with all kinds of weather, whether it be cold, snow, rain, ice, sleet. You got to train through it all. So it's worth it in the end. I'm sure when we go down Boylston Street together, all that training will seem like it's worth it.
In Boston, I met with the captain of the Run for MGH team, Dr. Howard Weinstein, Chief of Pediatric Hematology Oncology at Massachusetts General Hospital for Children, where the hallways are literally adorned with the cause.
Yes, I am the captain of the Mass General Marathon team, fighting kids' cancer one step at a time. And we began that team actually 20 years ago, in 1998. We had 10 runners at that time, and we raised $45,000 to support our childhood cancer program. And this year we have 100 runners, and our expectation is to raise $1 million. And all of that money will go to support both clinical and research work in the area of childhood cancer at the Mass General Hospital for Children.
We're required to raise $6,000 per runner per number. So combined, we had to raise, of course, $12,000. So we worked very hard. A lot of it was on Courtney's side. We had a fundraiser in February here in Burlington. That was a tremendous success. It's amazing. Our friends and family in the area just rose to the occasion, as they always do. We had almost 200 people.
Probably the biggest highlight for me is every year I run in honor of one of my patients. My own family members are at mile 20 cheering me on. So getting to mile 20 has always been a highlight. We have a patient partner program where about 50 of our runners each year are paired with a patient undergoing chemotherapy for childhood cancer. And the families and the kids are also all at mile 20. And I know many of the patients because this is where I work on a day-to-day basis. And so this is a really exciting moment to hit mile 20. At that point to see really what you're running for and what you can really do to help the cause. And once you get to mile 20, at least for myself, I know I'm going to get to Boston without any problem. The inspiration is really, truly remarkable.
And we have a patient partner that we're running for, so we will see her as well as our 3 girls right before we hit the last hill. And that's one of the highlights for me every year.
Our marathon runners are an incredibly diverse group. What's most exciting is every year we have several parents of our patients who run on our team in honor of their children who are being treated for childhood cancer. And what's even more exciting, we've had our survivors of childhood cancer who are now young adults run on our team. And about 3 years ago, 6 of our 100 runners were young adults who had survived childhood cancer. What could be more inspiring than to see someone who's now 10, 15, 20 years since being treated for childhood cancer running the marathon to support a childhood cancer program where they were treated. So that's really pretty unbelievable.
What some of these kids go through, makes running 26.2 miles seem like nothing, truthfully, and raising awareness, raising the money, and for Burlington residents, Burlington as a town, the businesses have been tremendously supportive. Our friends in the town have been supportive. So again, we're very fortunate in so many ways. We just want to give back.
There's nothing like turning the corner onto Boylston Street and seeing the flags, the finish line. Tears come to my eyes every year. It's an amazing feeling. It's almost indescribable.
This Monday will be Courtney's third Boston Marathon. And Dr. Weinstein?
Yeah, I've run it a couple of times. I've run it, this will be my 26th running of the Boston Marathon.
I asked Ryan if he's looking forward to his first.
I hope so. And doing it together makes it even that much more of a special event. I mean, not many folks have the opportunity to run the Boston Marathon, let alone run it with their spouse for a great charity they're passionate about.
All of us here at BNEWS Weekly wish the best of luck to all of those participating in the 121st running of the Boston Marathon. From the fine household and Massachusetts General Hospital, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak. Back to you in the studio.
2 Burlington High School students were honored for their academic and extracurricular activities at a regional luncheon last week. Juniors Ashley Coleman and Neil Bamar represented Burlington High School on April 5th at the annual Middlesex League Principals SILS Award Luncheon. Each year, the principals of the schools in the Middlesex League recognize a junior boy and girl with the SILS Award. The award recognizes students for service, leadership, integrity, and spirit. Recipients must have a 90% or better attendance rate, must have a B or better grade average with no grade below B-, and must be active in extracurricular activities. The SILS Award recipients must possess high integrity and demonstrate leadership and good citizenship, as well as having participated in school and/or community service. Principal Mark Sullivan said he was extremely proud of the 2 students and that they exemplify the SILS qualities on a daily basis at the high school and throughout the greater Burlington community. We had a record-setting warm day this week, but will that trend continue? To find out, we go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown for the weekly forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Ian Casciola to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. And I hope you all got out there and enjoyed that record-setting warmth that we had this past Tuesday. If you can believe it, here in the Burlington area, we actually made it to 88 degrees. So I'll tell you, it looks like we went from winter to summer right away. But as we're going to see in the next few days, we're going to see a return to actually some fairly warm weather getting on to Easter Sunday. So if you're out and about on Easter Sunday, it's going to feel like summer again. But look at this, starting out our period, we're going to see temperatures on Friday about where they should be at this time of the year, upper 50s to around 60, so no big surprises there with the weather. As you can see here, as we head towards the end of our period, look at this, we're getting into the 3rd week of April already, so we're well into spring. And of course, at that time of the year, our average highs should be in the 60s, so very nice weather ahead, that's for sure. We see those nice high temperatures that are warming every day. Our overnight lows are getting higher, so we're not going to be worrying about frost for too much longer. And of course, the best thing you notice is look at how long the days are now. They're well over 13 hours long in terms of daylight. So plenty of sunlight out there to get all of your activities done in the afternoon, that's for sure. As we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going to be going on with our weather for the next 7 days. And really what you see is what you get. We're going to have some really beautiful conditions for the next 7 days going out here. We're going to basically see just a few puffy clouds here and there in the sky for the next really 7 days. It won't be until we get to about Wednesday and maybe even into Thursday that we see a relatively slow-moving system moving by us. And this system's going to stay pretty far to our west and northwest here of the Burlington area. So we're only expecting maybe some scattered showers with some seasonal temperatures in the 50s and 60s. But I've got to tell you, before we get to that, going into your weekend, the end of your weekend into Easter Sunday, we're going to see temperatures perhaps up into the 80s again. And of course, if you're heading into Boston for the marathon or into the Red Sox game on Patriots Day on Monday, we're going to have a really, really nice day. Temperatures are probably going to be in probably the low 60s. Just a really nice spring day coming up, that's for sure. But as we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about how our drought situation is going, and I really wanted to highlight this next graphic that we have here, because look at this map. Now, you can remember about 6-7 months ago, we had all kinds of dark shades of red on this map here in Massachusetts, which means we were getting to the point where we were in an exceptional drought. But we had a very wet winter, had lots of rain, and had some late season snow, and again, another very large rainstorm a couple of weeks ago. And look at this in the Burlington area. We're actually almost out of the drought completely. So if we continue on and have maybe a couple more good rainstorms here in the spring, we're going to be in very good shape going into the summer in terms of the growing season. We'll have plenty of water to go around, take care of all of those plants and everything that you'll be growing. But as we move ahead, I'm going to show you again those beautiful conditions coming up for the next 7 days. Again, starting on our period on Friday, we're going to see really great weather. We're going to see temperatures in the upper 50s to near 60 with partly sunny skies. Pretty much a carbon copy for Saturday as well. Now, of course, getting into Friday morning, if you're getting up and going out, we're going to see it's going to be a little bit chilly out in the Burlington area. We may see a little bit more frost, but again, as we head into Easter Sunday, look at this. We are going to have to, I think, bump these temperatures, these highs that we originally reported here on Sunday, up by maybe as much as 8 or 9 degrees. So I think we're going to see temperatures in the low, maybe even mid-80s on Easter Sunday. But of course, as we get into Patriots Day and into April vacation week starting on Monday, going in town at all, temperatures are going to be much cooler than they are on Easter, temperatures in the low 60s. And again, we're going to have a couple of chilly mornings coming up, which is very typical for getting into April, where we have very, very dry conditions around. So nothing atypical, something that we're pretty much used to here. And again, introducing the chance of maybe a few showers when we get into the Wednesday and Thursday timeframe. But temperatures, again, look at this by the time we get to Thursday. I think we're going to see temperatures getting back up into the mid-60s again. So everyone, get out there today, enjoy this great weather we have coming up for April vacation, and have a great week.
Hello, and welcome to your community calendar. Are you looking for something to do in town? On Wednesday, April 19th, from 7 to 10 p.m., Jim Gambino of the Swinging Stakes is coming to perform at Chop's American Bar and Grill. Jim has been playing piano/organ since the age of 11. He co-founded the Stakes in 1989 with Tim Giovanello, Jamie Walker, and Paul Kochanski. Jim has many influences including Paul Westerberg, Wilco, Hank Williams, Steve Earle, Todd Snyder, Ryan Adams, Neil Young, the Rolling Stones, The Who, the Beatles, and Bob Dylan. Everyone is welcomed. For more info, visit chopsamericanbarandgrill.com or call 781-221-6643. Are you interested in learning about chickens? On Thursday, April 20th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having Christy Smith, also known as the Chickeness, stop by the library for a rundown of everything you may want to know about keeping your own backyard chickens. From popular breeds, housing, feeding and care, health, laws and zoning, and info on how to effortlessly mix chickens and neighbors. You will also get to meet a few of Christie's feathered friends. The event is free, everyone is welcomed. Light refreshments will also be served. For more info, visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. Does your child love to sing and dance? On Saturday, April 29th from 1 to 3 p.m., the Burlington Mall will be having auditions for Annie. Singers ages 8 and up are invited to perform a song from the acclaimed Annie the Musical in front of a panel of judges. 2 finalists from each participating mall will advance to compete in the finals for a chance to win a Annie for the Day prize package. The 10 finalists from April 29th will be invited to perform on Saturday, May 6th from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Burlington Mall and compete for a grand prize. Walk-ons are welcomed, but please secure your spot by registering in advance at burlingtonmall.eventbrite.com to guarantee a chance to sing. For more info on the event and grand prizes, please visit the Burlington Mall website at simon.com or call 781-270-8668. This has been your community calendar. I'm Ian Casciola. Back to you in the studio.
The Red Devil spring season is underway. To get news of the first games of the season, we go now to BNEWS sports reporter Matt DiMarzio for the BNEWS Sports Report.
Hey everyone, this is Matt DiMarzio here with your BNEWS Sports Report. The spring season is underway and we have a lot of Red Devils action to bring you today. The boys varsity baseball team started out strong with a 2-0 win over the Woburn Tanners. Their next game is a home field non-conference match against Cambridge Ringe and Latin at 10 a.m. on Monday, April 17th. The girls' varsity softball team had a strong showing against the Tanners, but fell by a score of 3-2 after an extra inning run gave Woburn the win. On the track, the varsity boys have secured win in the first 2 matches of the season. They beat Watertown with a whopping score of 109-27 and followed that up with a victory over Melrose with a score of 89-47. The girls' varsity track team beat Watertown 78-58, but lost to Melrose by a score of 72-64. Now on the tennis court, the girls' team has started out with a mixed bag. Their first game was a 3-2 win over Manchester Essex, followed by a 4-1 loss to Reading. They then came back with a 5-0 win over Woburn before reversing fortunes and getting swept by Winchester. Finally, this past Thursday, they were again on top with a 5-0 win over Melrose. Finally, to the field for lacrosse, the Red Devils ladies lost the 2 most recent games of the season. They fell 15-8 to Woburn and 17-5 to Winchester. Earlier in the season, they beat Saugus and Joseph Prep, but fell to Reading Memorial. The boys lacrosse team has had a 2-3 season thus far. Most recently, they lost to Winchester by a score of 16-8 on Thursday. On Tuesday, they beat Woburn 19-11. That's it for this week's BNEWS Sports Report. I'm Matt DiMarzio, and back to you guys in the studio.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo shows local Girl Scouts working to raise awareness about an important issue. It was sent in by Linda McNamee and shows Burlington Girl Scout Troop 69023 planting a pinwheel in front of the Burlington High School to help raise awareness of Child Abuse Prevention Month. The pinwheels are part of a project spearheaded by the Mama Bear Effect, a local organization that works to combat child abuse. Thanks for the photo, Linda. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, the weather outside your own door, or photos of your friends and families and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like us to see and to share with the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. That's it from the news desk here at BNews Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, Peter Brown, Ian Casciola, and Matt DiMarzio. Thank you for joining us.